Welcome to the Test Security Guidelines for CAASPP and ELPAC video for site coordinators and local educational agency or LEA coordinators, sponsored by the California Department of Education. Before you get ready to administer an assessment, let's refresh our knowledge of test security guidelines for CAASPP and ELPAC. This video will include general and specific test security guidelines for administering the computer-based CAASPP and ELPAC, common testing scenarios, and non-reportable incidents during and after test administration. By the end of this video, you will understand test security guidelines and procedures for administering the computer-based CAASPP and ELPAC. The CAASPP or ELPAC Test Security Agreement and Test Security Affidavit must be read and signed annually to ensure the security of assessments. All persons with access to the Test Operations Management System, or TOMS, must electronically sign the Test Security Affidavit upon first logging on to TOMS. Once you sign the Test Security Affidavit, you can print it out for your own records. Only LEA coordinators and site coordinators are required to sign the Test Security Agreement. Additionally, the CDE offers a sample interim assessment test security agreement. It can also be modified for local use and is not required by the state. General test security guidelines apply to all initial, interim, and summative assessments in both computer-based assessment and paper-pencil test formats. Site coordinators should report any testing incidents or security compromises to their LEA coordinator. It is the LEA coordinator's or site coordinator's responsibility to use the Security and Test Administration Incident Reporting System, or STARS process, to formally report testing incidents, if applicable. Site coordinators should provide security procedure training for all staff who have access to secure materials. Now, let's go over the types of test security incidents that may occur during summative CAASPP or ELPAC testing. There are three types of security incidents. 1. Improprieties. 2. Irregularities. 3. Breaches. Let's start with the Smarter Balance for English Language Arts and Literacy, or ELA, and Mathematics, California Science Test, or CAST, and ELPAC Interim Assessments. Interim assessment materials are available year-round to all California public kindergarten through grade 12 educators and non-public, non-sectarian school educators who provide instruction to California public school students. It is important to note that interim assessments can be administered as standardized or non-standardized assessments. The interim assessment for a student should be marked standardized only if a valid interpretation of results can be made. The interim assessments are intended to be student and teacher-facing only. They are not for public use, display, or distribution. Interim assessment items must not be posted or copied into third-party systems or sent home for homework. Any use, display, or distribution of interim assessment items that results in access to persons beyond LEA staff and students compromises test security and violates copyright. Interim assessment security compromises are not reported through the Security and Test Administration Incident Reporting System, or STARS, but they should be reported to the site coordinator. An impropriety is an unusual circumstance that has a low impact on test takers and a low risk of affecting student performance, test security, or validity. Examples of an impropriety include a student or multiple students leaving the test room without authorization, making distracting gestures or sounds, or experiencing a fire drill, network outage, or health-related emergency. An irregularity is another unusual circumstance that does impact the test taker or test takers. It may affect student performance, test security, or validity. Examples of an irregularity include a disruption during the test session, such as students who were assigned an incorrect designated support or accommodation, students who were exposed to related instructional materials left on the walls in the testing room, or students who were cheating. The LEA coordinator or site coordinator must enter incidents that are improprieties or irregularities into STARS within 24 hours. The third type of incident is a security breach. A security breach is an event that poses a threat to the validity of the assessment and has an external implication to the assessment. For example, a student shares a picture of a test item on social media. That test item is circulated to other students. This item would need to be removed from the test item bank for students who have not yet tested, and a rescore would have to be processed for any student who interacted with the test item. Site coordinators should immediately report incidents to the LEA coordinator. It is the LEA coordinator's responsibility to contact the California Technical Assistance Center, or CAASPP, or their LEA success agent, and submit a STARS case within 24 hours. There are only two types of security breaches that need to be reported to CAASPP or the LEA success agent outside of STARS. They are 1. A social media breach, such as test items being shared on social media, or 2. Allowing the media to observe a test session. No other breaches need to be reported to the LEA success agent outside of STARS. Incidents involving test administrators modifying student answers and students using electronic devices, such as sharing a test item on social media during testing, are examples of breaches that should be reported in STARS. Examples and definitions of security incidents can be found in the Security Incidents and Appeals Procedure Guide, which can be accessed through the Manuals Library webpage and the Test Security webpage on the CAASPP and ELPAC website. Now we will review the issues that do not need to be reported as a test security incident. An incident does not need to be reported if the student uses an electronic device after they have completed their test session. The use of electronic devices during testing is prohibited. The issue should be reported only if the student was actively engaged in a test session or the student completed testing and used the device to help other students who were engaged in a test session. If the assessment is being administered remotely, you should attempt to have the student alone in the room. It is not a security issue and does not need to be reported if the student is not alone, as long as others in the room are not interacting with the student, looking at the test screen, or assisting the student in any way. If there are any issues or events that you feel deviate from standard security, site coordinators should report them to the LEA coordinator. The LEA coordinator can contact the LEA success agent with questions or concerns. Now let's go over a common scenario that happens during testing. Students often report that the test delivery system has skipped questions. If the student perceives that the assessment has skipped an item, this does not need to be reported as a test security incident. For assessments with a pause rule, students cannot progress to another page or set of items unless they have responded to all items within that page or set. The test delivery system does not allow items to be skipped. After a pause greater than 20 minutes, the system is designed to place the student on the first unanswered item. Cases have been observed where, prior to a pause, a student navigates back to a previous item and deletes the answer. When the assessment is resumed, it will return the student to this previously responded to item that is now blank. When the student answers that item and selects Next, the student is sent to the next unanswered item, which skips the student's previously responded to items. For example, a student answers items 1 through 18 on a 20-item test segment. Prior to pausing, the student deletes item 14. When the assessment resumes, the student would then return to only items 14, 19, and 20. Authorized electronic devices, such as a medical support, can be used by students as a designated support. You should follow local policies regarding medical supports and ensure that students' health is the highest priority. Device settings must restrict access to other applications, or you must closely monitor the use of the device to maintain test security. Use of electronic devices that have access to the internet may require a separate setting to avoid distractions to other test takers and to ensure test security. Scratch paper must be collected after each testing session. A student may only use the same scratch paper on the ELA and mathematics performance tasks, CAST, and the California Spanish Assessment, or CSA. However, this scratch paper must be held by the test administrator between sessions. An incident involving scratch paper should only be reported when a student retains scratch paper and returns to continue testing within the same assessment, excluding the ELA and Mathematics Performance Tasks, CAASPP, and the CSA. Accessibility resources for all students should be checked prior to admitting a student to begin an assessment. Students tested with improperly assigned accessibility resources could result in a stairs case. If you have any questions about test security, please contact your LEA coordinator or LEA success agent for more information. Thank you for watching.